Hey, this is Trissa from Sewing and Things, and in this video we're sewing the front zipper fly for the Grady Pants Sew Along. For the zippered version of the Grady Pants, you are going to need your front pieces that have the pockets completed. You are going to need your fly shield as well as a zipper. If you haven't done so already, make sure your interfacing has been ironed on to both your fly on both sides as well as half of your fly shield. We are going to start off by finishing the fly extension on both sides of your pants, which is going to be this side here and then again along here. So go ahead and finish those fly extensions with either a serger or a zigzag stitch, and then we'll come back. Once both of your fly extensions have been finished, we are going to mark 5/8 of an inch in from the mark that we made along the center front right here. If you haven't drawn this mark yet, go ahead and do that now. And then we're going to draw 5/8 of an inch. I'm just going to use my little square because I don't know where my other gauge is. Once you've marked 5/8 of an inch from the mark you made along the center front, along the curve, go ahead and connect those together. So now we're going to sew a basting stitch along this front part. Switch to a regular stitch, back tack a couple times, and then sew a regular stitch around the front of here. So go ahead and do that. So basting stitches, regular stitches with your shorts or pants right sides together along that line that we just made. So go ahead and do that, and then we'll come back. So you can see here that I have basting stitches coming along here, switch to a regular stitch, back stitched a couple times, and then continued sewing the rest of the way. So now with that sewn, go ahead and grab some scissors. We're going to cut along this underneath the fly extension all the way to the stitches. Just make sure you don't cut through the stitches. And once that's done, we're going to go ahead and finish this part of the crotch curve with a zigzag stitch or your serger, and we're going to be stitching those together. So go ahead and do that, and then we'll come back. Once that has been stitched, open up your pants. We are going to press our fly extension open, and then the rest of this over to the left side. Once your shorts have been pressed, and if you're sewing the jean version, you are going to sew a row of top stitching along the left side of your pants or shorts, making sure you are catching what we pressed. If you're doing the chino or the dress pant version, this is optional. So I'm going to skip this step for this pair. So now fold your shorts in half. Make sure your fly extension is open. You're going to need to grab your zipper. So place your zipper, this cute little tiny zipper I found online for my son's pants. Pretty excited about how cute this is. But anyway, grab your zipper, place it on your fly extension, face down, making sure the bottom stop, this right here, is at least a 1/2 inch above the bottom of the fly extension, because we're going to need to have room around this to top stitch, especially for the jean version. You're going to want to make sure your zipper teeth are 3/8 to 1/2 inch away from the center seam. However, depending on where you sew your seam next to your teeth, you can have your zipper a little bit closer than 3/8 of an inch, since once we sew it down, we'll be flipping the zipper over And so you essentially don't want your teeth to end up on top of your seam. You need to have some space there. So I'm actually going to line up my zipper right on top of my center seam, just for personal preference. Also, a quick tip is if your zipper is like mine, where the top of the zipper is right at the top of your pants, once you pin this in place, start sewing your zipper with it unsewn. Sew a little bit down, keep your needle inside your fabric, press your foot up, zip your zipper back up, press your foot down, and continue sewing the rest of the way for your zipper. So go ahead and do that, and then we'll come back. With your zipper sewn on, we are now going to flip the zipper and that fly extension down. We're now going to top stitch along this folded edge with a 1/8 of an inch seam allowance from this fold. And because of your zipper, it's easiest to sew that with a zipper foot. So go ahead and sew that, and then we'll come back. With that top stitch, to open up your fly extension and flip your shorts over, making sure this is staying flushed. You want to make sure your zipper is not along the center seam. That way it stays hidden, but my center seam is right here, so we should be good to go. So now we're going to do 2 rows of stitching, one close to the zipper teeth and one close to the outside edge of our zipper tape. So go ahead and sew those 2 lines of stitching, and then we'll come back. Once that is sewn, open up your shorts, making sure your zipper is flat. And then also grab your fly top stitching guide. And also grab a marking pen or some chalk. Now, using your top stitching guide, we're going to draw a line on the outside of this line, making sure your zipper stop is away from that stitch line, which is why we wanted to have the zipper up some. Either use some chalk or a fabric marker to draw that top stitching line. Once you've drawn your line with your fly top stitch guide, go ahead and sew that on. If you are sewing a jean version, go ahead and sew another line of stitching inside of this one. I find it helpful if you also draw the line, just because it's easier to make this curve nice and smooth if you have a guide drawn on there for you. But once that's done, we're going to go ahead and grab our fly shield. And with a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance with right sides together, we're going to sew along this bottom edge. So go ahead and sew that, and then we'll come back. With that sewn, flip your fly shield right sides together. Make sure you poke out the corner, and then go ahead and press, give that a nice press. So go ahead and do that, and then we'll come back. Once this is pressed, go ahead and fold your shorts right sides together. We're going to take that fly shield and put it on top of your shorts. And with a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, sew your fly shield to your shorts. You want to make sure that fly shield is covering up any top stitching that you did. So I'm going to go ahead and do that with my serger. But if you use a sewing machine, you are welcome to cut off any excess. But go ahead and do that, and then we'll come back. With that sewn, we're now going to open up our shorts again, making sure that fly shield is laying flat. You're going to want to sew some bar tacks on your top stitching. That way it will hold the fly shield down. Typically do it one here and then one along here. If your machine does not have a bar tack function, you can use your buttonhole function to sew some bar tacks, or you can use a narrow zigzag stitch with your stitch length really close together. Just make sure you test on some scrap before you do your permanent stitches. So go ahead and do that, and then we'll come back. With your bar tack sewn, you now can undo your basting stitches. Now you want to baste your fly extension in place along the top of your pants right here. So go ahead and do that, and then we'll come back. After that, your fly is done. If you need to trim or shorten your zipper, you can do that now, or you can wait until you're ready to attach your waistband. That way you don't have to worry about losing your zipper pull. However, I will show you how to do that now. I'm going to start off by trimming your zipper flush with your pants. Now for these middle zippers, we're going to want to remove some of these zipper teeth. Now it can get a little bit tricky, however, middle teeth are a little bit easier to remove than the plastic teeth. I like to use this little tool. Make sure you don't remove any teeth below 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. So I'm just going to remove 5 and 5 just to be safe, and I can always remove another one if I need to when I attach my waistband. Okay, so there is a trick to removing the zipper teeth without it fraying too much like this. So what you want to do, if you have a tool like this, you want to basically pinch off the top of the tooth, of the middle tooth, and then pinching it down, and then it'll come off a lot easier. I haven't removed some metal zipper teeth in a while, so I couldn't remember exactly how to do it, so that's why it's a little messy. But that's the trick. You pinch that top part off, and then you pinch it down, and it should come off fairly easy. Just make sure you don't zip up your zipper now, because you might lose your zipper pull. But now your zipper is done. To stay up to date on the latest videos, be sure to subscribe to my channel, or you can check out my blog at sewingandthings.com.